The entertainment world is in mourning after the death of Eric Dane, whose passing at the age of 53 has left fans, colleagues, and industry insiders struggling to process the loss. Known globally for his powerful screen presence and memorable television roles, Eric Dane was more than just a star. He was a familiar face in millions of homes and a figure many viewers felt emotionally connected to over the years. As news of his death spread, grief was quickly followed by questions, speculation, and intense online discussion. And by the end of this report, we will also address the question many people are asking right now, whether there was an open casket funeral. For years, Eric Dane built a career that felt both impressive and personal. His rise to fame was not sudden but steady. He earned recognition through consistent performances that showed confidence, emotional depth, and natural charisma. Viewers trusted him on screen. His characters felt strong, human, and believable. That connection is what made his presence so lasting, and it is also why his death feels so deeply personal to many fans around the world. Behind the scenes, Eric Dane was widely respected. Coworkers often described him as professional, calm, and generous with his time. He was known for supporting fellow actors and maintaining a respectful environment on set. These qualities do not always make headlines, but they matter deeply in an industry where pressure is constant and relationships can be fragile. For many who worked with him, his loss is not just professional, it is emotional. In early 2025, Eric Dane's public image shifted in a profound and unexpected way. He revealed that he had been diagnosed with ALS, a progressive neurological disease that affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. ALS slowly takes away muscle control. Movement becomes difficult, speech becomes strained. Eventually, even breathing can be affected. There is currently no cure. By sharing this diagnosis publicly, Eric Dane made a deeply personal decision that immediately changed how people viewed him. His announcement was met with an outpouring of support. Fans praised his honesty. Advocacy groups thanked him for bringing attention to a disease that often remains invisible until it affects someone personally. Eric Dane did not dramatize his condition. He spoke calmly and directly, which only strengthened the respect people already had for him. His openness helped many others feel less alone in their own battles with illness. After that announcement, Eric Dane gradually stepped back from public life. Appearances became rare. Interviews stopped. Updates about his health were limited. Those close to him chose silence not out of secrecy but out of care. The focus shifted from career to family, from public image to private strength. For many months, there was little news until confirmation arrived in early 2026 that Eric Dane had passed away. The reaction was immediate and emotional. Social media platforms filled with tributes from fans who had grown up watching him. Fellow actors shared behind-the-scenes memories. Industry figures praised his talent and character. News coverage focused on his career highlights, his courage in facing ALS, and the heartbreak of losing him at a relatively young age. The tone of the coverage was respectful and somber. But as the initial shock settled, another conversation quietly began to dominate online spaces. People started searching for information about his funeral. Questions appeared everywhere. Had the funeral already happened? Was it private or public? And most notably, was there an open casket funeral? These questions spread rapidly, not because answers were available, but because silence often invites speculation. In the digital age, the absence of information is frequently misinterpreted. When families do not immediately release details, assumptions take their place. Online posts begin to speculate. Videos hint at details without sources. Headlines appear that raise curiosity but offer no confirmation. This is how rumors are created, and this is exactly what happened in this situation. Funeral arrangements are among the most private decisions a family can make. Whether a casket is open or closed depends on many factors. Cultural traditions matter. Religious beliefs play a role. Medical circumstances are important. Emotional comfort is central. There is no universal rule, and there is no obligation for families to explain their choices to the public. For public figures, these decisions become even more sensitive. A public funeral can attract cameras, crowds, and speculation. What should be a moment of mourning can quickly turn into a public event. Because of this, many celebrity families choose private services with limited attendance. Sometimes, a separate memorial service is held later, focusing on celebrating life rather than the physical reality of death. In cases involving long-term illness, families often lean even more toward privacy. ALS is a disease that changes the body over time. Families may choose closed services simply to protect dignity and emotional well-being. These choices are not about hiding anything. They are about care, respect, and peace. Eric Dane was also a father. That fact alone explains why details may be intentionally limited. When children are involved, families often make decisions that prioritize protection. Shielding children from public exposure during grief is common and understandable. This is not secrecy, it is love. Despite widespread online claims, major and reputable news outlets have not published confirmed details about Eric Dayne's funeral. Coverage has remained focused on his life, his work, and the tributes shared after his death. There have been no verified reports describing a public service. There has been no official confirmation of an open casket. There have been no authenticated images from any ceremony. This lack of information has led some people to assume that details are being hidden. In reality, it usually means the family has chosen not to share them. In journalism, the absence of confirmation is not evidence of a dramatic story. Often, it is evidence of restraint and respect. The phrase "open casket funeral" continues to circulate online largely because it is emotionally charged. It creates a vivid image. It suggests intimacy and finality, but without confirmation, it remains speculation. Responsible reporting requires evidence, and so far no such evidence has been presented. What is clearly visible is the way Eric Dane is being remembered. Co-stars have described him as kind, generous, and deeply committed to his craft. Friends have spoken about his humor and loyalty. Fans have shared stories about how his performances helped them through difficult moments in their own lives. This collective remembrance paints a picture of a man whose impact reached far beyond television screens. The tone of these tributes matters. There has been no push from those closest to him to make funeral details public. There have been no dramatic statements or staged announcements. Instead, there has been quiet reflection. This strongly suggests that the family values privacy and is choosing to grieve away from public view. Speculation about funeral details can have real consequences. Families in mourning may encounter rumors that turn deeply personal moments into public discussion. Children may see claims before they are emotionally prepared. Grief can be intensified rather than eased. This is why responsible news organizations avoid reporting unconfirmed information, especially when it involves death and family matters. Now, as promised, we come to the clear and honest update. As of now, there have been no official funeral updates released to the public regarding Eric Dane. There has been no confirmed announcement about a public funeral service and no verified confirmation that an open casket funeral took place. Any claims suggesting otherwise remain unconfirmed and should be treated with caution. If the family chooses to share funeral details in the future, those details will come from credible sources and will be reported responsibly. Until then, the situation remains private. What remains public, however, is Eric Dane's legacy, his work, his courage in facing illness, and the lasting impression he left on everyone who watched, worked with, and loved him.